over continued depletion of foreign reserves. And later on the show, soccer excitement returns as the 2022-2023 English Premier League season begins. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Bola Olajuwon. Welcome to the program, gentlemen. Bikio, happy Sunday to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bola, good to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
It's good to be here.
Welcome. All right, Journalist Hangout starts now. Thank you for staying with us. Now, let's begin on a celebratory note by congratulating one of our biggest fans, Pa Johnson Kolade Otitoju, who has been installed as the new Akinri of Ekinriland in Ijumu local government area of Kogi State. Oba Otitoju is the father of our own Babajide Kolade Otitoju, and we say congratulations to him, the family, and the entire community. Bikio, congratulations to you. How do we celebrate this?
Well, by giving your prayers.
The prince.
It's actually Akinri.
Oh, Akinri, I do apologize. Akinri.
Yes. We thank God for making this happen. My dad is 85, but he's happy to be installed the Akinri and to join his forefathers. As the king of the land. So, only ask for your prayers. The real celebration will be sometime in November. That is the official enthronement.
All right, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Traditionally, a man is expected to be the chief provider for his family as well as the protector. But what happens when he fails in this? A businesswoman, Asiata Oladejo, has prayed a Mapo customary court in Ibadan, Oyo State, to grant her divorce on the grounds that her husband, Abidemi, was undependable because he abandoned her at the mercy of armed robbers when they were attacked. Asiata told the court that she was yet to recover from the shock she experienced when her husband hid in the toilet, leaving her and the children at the mercy of robbers who terrorized residents of their house. Gentlemen, a very delicate situation here.
Well, what would you have done if you found yourself in that situation?
You see,
Because I really do not want to blame the woman here.
yes, you see the name Ashiata, the woman should be a Muslim. I don't know. With that name. Okay? And the man, I don't know, maybe the man, the Muslim people. Okay? Like fighting in the cause of a life is not necessarily a fighting war. You have to protect the religion and trust you with the safety of the family as the man of the house.
All right, be careful.
I want to say, ideally, the role of the man is to protect his family. But there are times when you can be powerless to
protect his family.
Yeah, you see, people can say all kinds of things. People who have not been victims of armed robbery can say all kinds of things. If he is alive, he stands a good chance of looking after his children. Maybe that was what was going through his mind, that look, I need to be alive so that I can take care of my children. Once I'm gone, my wife, this burden will be too much for my wife. And it's usually the man that these people target. You know, maybe he had them discussing that they should first kill him before anything. I'm not teaching him the lies to tell people, but maybe he had them discussing, and he felt, since they are going to take my life, let me just hide. It's a terrible situation. I've been in a situation before where robbers slapped my mom. And my mom just said, so what would you have done?
No.
You can't try to play the hero because they had guns. They waste
just
you.
waste one.
Yes, they waste you right there. But
did she go too far? Did she go too far in asking that the court dissolves the marriage?
Well, maybe there are other considerations.
Other factors. There must be other factors.
I don't think that's enough to warrant a divorce. You have to think of the love. If love is sufficient, you won't. These days, real love is absent.
It's hard to find.
Anything little people want to get out of marriage, maybe because there is someone out there that they are eyeing. Where love is sufficient, forgive. Clinton had sexual relationship. Did the wife not forgive him?
Yes,
the wife decided to forgive him. Yes. Today they are happy, they are stronger together. Both of them are doing well. Yes. And it has not, in fact, it made Hillary Clinton stronger politically.
Yes.
You know, because after that, she became Secretary of State, number 3 person.
And she also contested.
And then contested election. You know, so others will have said, no, let me divorce because my husband made this mistake and all that. My husband was unfaithful. I'm getting out of the relationship. Hillary Clinton didn't do that.
Because, if you look at the case, at the court, the woman was even saying the man was a womanizer, it was this, was that.
There are other issues.
There were other considerations. That couldn't have been, it's not, that couldn't have been the sufficient reason.
Yes.
All right, then we hope that they find a balance in that situation there. All right, gentlemen, let's talk some other issues. When 2 elephants in the federal government and striking members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, engage in endless tangle, the students are left to bear the brunt as the grass. Now they are saying enough of the prolonged industrial action that has kept public universities under lock and key for more than 5 months. The student leaders, under the aegis of the Council of Students' Union Presidents, demanded the sack of the Minister of Education, Adamu, and that of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, for their failure to resolve the crisis within 2 weeks, as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari. The group, which comprised presidents of students' union governments in more than 100 universities across the country, also gave the federal government 7 days to end the strike or face mass action by students. Now let's share the story by TVC News' Helen Osamide Akins with you.
Nigerian students have found themselves at the receiving end of the continuous strike embarked on by Academic Staff Union of Universities over unresolved issue with the federal government since 2009. It has caused untold hardship for both students and their parents due to the uncertainty of the academic calendar. Even when ASUU members get some of their demands met and return to classes, they are soon out back on strike, leaving the students to pick up the pieces of their lives with great difficulty. This is now over 5 months since ASUU embarked on its latest strike.
Then in school,
Ezine Eke is a 300-level student of the University of Nigeria. Having stayed at home for almost 6 months, she is already receiving messages from her landlord reminding her to renew the rent of her hostel accommodation, which will be due in October.
Since March, I haven't been there. March, April, May, you can count it. And then I'll go back to my dad and I'm like, my lodge rent has expired. How is he going to see it? Even if they call off strike today and I go back to school, that's like in how many months' time? Like, it's really painful, honestly.
ASUU strike has been on for a while. I mean, everybody wants to get jobs or find something to do, but like in the end, when you are trying to find something professional, you can't get it because everybody keeps demanding for your BSc result.
The Council of Students' Union Presidents, which comprises of all students' union presidents across federal universities in Nigeria, are not taking this lightly. They are giving the government a time frame to resolve the issue or have Nigerian students in major streets of the nation's capital.
We also call for the immediate removal of the Minister of Education, Adamu, and the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige. We are going to shut down the activities of the airport. We are going to block major roads in the Federal Capital Territory. At least we are going to start receiving lectures in the Ministry of Education, both in the Ministry of Labour and even in the airports.
And anybody can feel free to take this as an empty threat, but time will tell
if we are bluffing or if we actually have the capacity to deliver on what we are saying.
The council says that it is losing students to incessant killing from bandit attack following their prolonged stay at home, as they begged the government to look into the demands of ASUU as presented and attend to them so they could return to school. Helen Osamede-Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, gentlemen, here we go again. Urgent resolution or mass action?
Okay. Well, what I would think, what I will only say is that I'm not surprised about the performance or how the Minister for Education has been able to deliver on the ultimatum that the president gave to him, that in 2 weeks, resolve this issue and get back to me. It's quite unfortunate. He has not been able to do that. And the president of ASUU said it last week. He told, our correspondent, education correspondent in Abuja, that ASUU was not able to meet the minister, or the minister has not been able to send any message, any team, or any strategic negotiating instrument in terms of, oh, this is what we can do, this is what we thought, we should be able to come with, this is what we should be able to discuss as per, the terms that, ASUU is asking the federal government to deliver on. One, the issue of 2009 agreement is still there. Then the issue of UTAS, that means, can you help me with the meaning of UTAS, or what is it? The one that they deliver, that they want, the alternative one, that they want the federal government to facilitate in payment. Yes. Nothing. Then, you see, not only that, apart from, the agreement that they signed, how many years ago? From 2009 till now, even there is a clause there that there should be renegotiation of the agreement at so point in time. Nothing has been done about it. Not only that, you see, it's quite unfortunate the way we take situation. That is why the security of the nation is like what we have. It's the manifestation of, our attitude to things. For, students to be at home for 6 months, to be at home for doing nothing, is disgraceful.
All right, BK, we heard the students there demanding for the removal of both ministers. Now, and of course, this is not the first set of people asking for the removal of both ministers. Can we actually put the total blame on the doorsteps of both ministers? And I remember ASUU members also asking for the removal of both ministers, especially Chris Ngige.
Well, I don't blame those calling for the head of those ministers. People respond to frustration in different ways. A lot of them are disappointed that the same Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, who successfully ended the doctor strike, medical worker strike, negotiating with them, has not been able to do the same thing for ASUU. But Ngige cannot do this alone. The employers of the striking university workers is the Minister of Education. But most of the time it's Ngige that everybody is abusing. Everybody. I don't know what they expect Ngige to do. Ngige cannot solve this problem by himself. The president is the person who can take that big decision to say, okay, ASUU, what you want is UTAS, University Transparency Accountability Solution, as alternative to IPs. I give it to you. The Conference of Vice Chancellors have said that only the president can take that decision. And I believe them. The other issue, because they have said that if government will resolve 2 issues, just 2 issues, out of the numerous conditions that they gave earlier, they said 2 issues, renegotiate our 2009 agreement with the federal government of Nigeria and disenroll us from IPs and put us on UTAS. Just 2. They are not talking about other things anymore. They just said these 2, if you address these 2, we'll go back to work. But government set up the Professor Neme Briggs Committee to sit with ASUU and renegotiate the 2009 agreement. Professor Neme Briggs has since, for over a month, submitted his draft renegotiation of the agreement. The government has said nothing. You've not shown to them that you even want to talk about some of the
proposals,
some of the things that Professor Briggs brought into the agreement with a view to solving this problem. Of course, the salaries of professors and other categories of workers will naturally go up. For professors, their salaries will go up by about 180% based on what is said to be in the renegotiated agreement. I think the issue of money is what is making government to consider implementing that renegotiated agreement. But the thing is, if you by yourself set up a committee, the committee has done its work. You are obligated to have a look at that, at the report, and then take a decision. If you cannot provide all of what they have asked for, if you cannot pay, show urgency. Because the former CBN governor, Sanusi, said this government does not even show urgency about solving our biggest problem. Show urgency by calling the university lecturers and say, gentlemen, these are the things that we can do. These ones we can't do. Let's find a middle ground. I mean, if people shooting themselves, killing themselves, can end up at a round table to discuss peace, what is difficult in calling the people who are going on strike, non-violent protests? What is difficult in calling them and telling them that, gentlemen, we cannot do this. This is how far we can go. Many people are saying that the attitude of government reinforces the belief that Nigeria is broke, that any further expenditure, any further raise or rise in expenditure will spell doom for our country. Maybe that's why they don't even want to talk to us. But on your own, you set up, this same government set up the Musalin Jibril Committee. He didn't look at his findings. This government set up the Professor Neme Briggs Committee, still on the 2009 agreement. Since the past 1 month now, they've refused to look at it and even say, this is our position. This is how far we can go. When people were saying that the president gave the Minister of Education ultimatum, they were the same people who came out to say, no, there was no ultimatum. The president never gave an ultimatum. So I don't understand.
All right, let's quickly take a look at some of the consequences of the strike, which we would all agree. It has increased the rate of drug abuse, thuggery, prostitution, and we've also seen some lecturers borrowing to survive.
No, they've got to survive. Whatever.
Yes.
What would they eat? You've not paid them for 6 months.
You see, it's quite unfortunate what university lecturers and university workers are going through now. Okay? I did my postgraduate studies in UI. Okay? In my department, I used to have a friend working there. The husband is equally working in the university. The woman was lamenting what they were going through at home. And it's a general phenomenon like that. Fine. The lecturer home is even better. At the end of the day, when the issue is resolved, they have a way of collecting the backlog the backlog of their salary. That will happen. But look, what about
it for them?
Yes, what about the students that's supposed to go for orientation for National Youth Service Corps? What about them? Okay, what about those people, that will just stay at home and they've been spending days doing nothing? Nothing as in doing nothing. And some people are involving in them in criminality, like Yahoo phenomenon. Like, you know very well that university now is the thing in university. You see students using big vehicles and things like that, living large. And what do you expect them to do? Okay, as Yoruba will say that Owotoba Dile ni Eshu Yalo. Okay, like, an empty, an idle person. What do you expect of an idle person?
All right,
the devil must use an idle person.
All right, gentlemen, let's quickly take Yakub from Lagos. Hello, Yakub.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
And good afternoon, Babajide and the other gentleman. Good afternoon, sir. Babajide, it is laughable. If a government can set up the committee and then they spend the Nigerian resources, the taxpayer money to set up this committee in order to find the last solution to this problem. At the end of the day, state government does not accept what the committee says. But what I want to say is this: the students, they don't just need to block only airport. They should go ahead to block National Assembly as well. If possible, they should block the road go to the Mr. President, the ASUU filler, because the issue is this: whether we like it or not, even the school open tomorrow, there are some students they will not even go back to that school, because when they were at home for some time, they have found some certain thing doing. They are seeing money now. Going back to that school, they will think twice. They will not go back to school. But the students union should go ahead and block the National Assembly. Although the National Assembly was in research, but that notwithstanding, they should go ahead, block everywhere, so that this government will accept what the committee. It's a laughable. The committee will set up by yourself.
Thank you very much, Yakub. Thank you very much for your contribution. All right, gentlemen, when people say is strike the only option, but also continues to say even some of the little concessions are as a result of the strike. And without these strikes, there might have been no public universities in Nigeria as we speak. Ikeo.
Yes, it seems strike is the only language that our leaders understand. Look at the other day when health workers went on. Look, the hazard allowance that you are paying us, that hazard allowance was instituted in the 80s, in the early 80s. So it does not conform with present day realities. It is nothing in the face of inflation and other realities that we face. Yet, we allow the strike to drag on. Government will negotiate, get into memorandum of action with striking workers, and will still not take action. They did it with health workers. It was when government refused to implement the same memorandum of action that it got into that led to the suspension of strike, that health workers now began a fresh strike. In this case, what ASUU is doing, ASUU merely resumed the suspended strike. Over the years, they have formed the habit of suspending strike and not calling off strike. Okay. When you suspend the strike, you don't need to give a long notice before you resume. You can even resume the next day. You know? But if you call off a strike, there are steps that you must follow according to labor laws, which are actually more time consuming. You know? So it is government that encourages this attitude from workers. If government will honor its word at all times, if governor will know that their word is bond, if government will realize that their word or not honoring their word says a lot about honor, then these sort of things won't be happening. For me, as a product of a public university in our country, I am troubled at the decay that is going on in the universities. Now our politicians have resorted to setting up new universities, new public universities. There are already now even demands for more than 130 universities, fresh universities. And we cannot fund the ones that are there. Yeah. Even the state universities are not well funded. The federal universities, the new ones, they are not well funded. Schools like UNILAG, UR and the rest of them, with the solid alumni that they have, they're able to get alternate funding. But it's not like that for every university. Right. So if we want to keep 10 universities, 10 public universities, let's keep them, but make sure that we fund them sufficiently.
All right, gentlemen, let's quickly take a look at some of the security situations in Nigeria. What stands the military out as the profession is order and the mandate of the rank and file to carry out such without question. But before our own eyes, several marching orders to the military to end insecurity, even from the commander-in-chief, have gone without corresponding action and result. Now, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, has ordered Nigerian Air Force operational commanders to employ maximum firepower against the terrorists and bandits who now roam the country. At the launch of Operation Show No Mercy against terrorists, Up Air Marshal Amao told frontline air officers commanding and air component commanders to modify air power strategies to stay ahead of the asymmetric and unconventional nature of terrorist activities in the country. But will there be any positive change this time? This is a big question. Voila.
Well, I'm sorry to say, if the commander-in-chief, the president, can give order to the military that they should go to the theater of war or the front line and flush out and deal with terrorists and bandits, and nothing is happening as of today, who is chief of air staff? No, I'm asking, who is chief of air staff? See, let's be realistic with ourselves. It's quite unfortunate that we are not taking the Air Force seriously. The dictate of warfare now is, the focus is on the Air Force. And mostly, what are they using? What are they using? They are not even necessarily using, helicopters. They are not using jet fighter. What are they using this day? We have friends all over the world. Turkey is there. And then Turkey is very good at it. They are making use of other platforms. We can see what is obtainable in Ukraine. What is happening to us? Why are we killing our grandchildren when we can make use of the Air Force to soften the ground for them? Through reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and they are the people that will do it. It's the Air Force. If the Air Force is not there, you are as good as dead. And that is why our men are being killed. These people need to use their platform. They can use helicopter reconnaissance, aircraft, others to locate the hideout of enemy and enemy movement. But they are not doing it. They are not doing it. That is why you see our soldiers just going there, they ambush them, they kill them, and then that is the more reason these terrorist bandits are moving from one place to the other. What we are seeing in the southwest now, that northerners are coming with Okadas and every other things inside trailers coming, is a child's play with what is obtainable with the movements of bandits now. How can bandits be moving from northeast to northwest, from northwest to north central, from north central? Then they are moving into southwest. They are in Lagos, in the Jayede, a Boko Haram commander. They saw them. They saw a Boko Haram commander with a cell. You see, it's a terrible phenomenon. But the issue is this. It's not giving the order, but making sure they carry out the order.
All right, BKO.
Yes, I am very happy, especially with the progress that we've made in the Northeast. No one can deny that. In the past, Boko Haram or ISWAP were attacking military bases all the time. But today, I can't remember when last I heard that an army base in the Northeast was attacked and soldiers dislodged. We have made serious progress in that area. And the Air Force has been in the thick of it. The Tucanos have been working, doing a tremendous job in the Northeast. The unmanned area vehicles, they are like the unsung heroes. They are doing a good job over there. The ground attack platforms, this is the Tucano, for example. The ground attack platforms are also doing very well because they give the military that kind of protection that even fighter jets cannot provide. They give them a kind of intimate protection because they're able to fly very low, and the enemy dreads them. Talking about the MI series, MI-35P, MI-38, all of the MI series that we bought from Russia, are doing a good job. But we need to do more. There has to be synergy, improved synergy between the armed forces. Yes, there is improvement, at least since this set of service chiefs came in. The sort of rivalry that we used to see is no longer there. They work together. But it has to improve. For example, before the army launches a major ground offensive, the Air Force should be informed. So that as they are leaving, they have that protection that only the Air Force can offer. They give what they call the air cover. And they will be going together. The operation will be done simultaneously. With the Air Force will help them soften up the enemy positions before the surface troops move in. This is the guarantee of success for us. In the Northwest, where we face a big problem with bandits, talking about Kaduna, talking about Katsina, where more than 12 local governments are currently overrun by bandits. And then coming to North Central, the FCT, the satellite towns, bandits are everywhere. Then Niger, in fact, in the Kainji Lake National Park, bandits already have their base. Because these were forests that we mismanaged over the years. So bandits have found use The same way they found use for Sambisa. Sambisa was a forest reserve. They came, they turned it to their own. Now in Niger State, they have a huge forest that they've turned to their own. And from that forest, they are moving into Moru and Kwara North. And from Kwara North, they want to move to Kishi in Oyo State and enter the southwest through those forests. There is a lot of work that Marshal Amao and his people in the Air Force need to do. There is a lot. We still face a lot of threats. And honestly, if we do not defeat these guys, even we must first stop their spread to other parts of the country, then face them in the areas where they are. If we can't stop their spread, the insecurity in our country will worsen. And if it worsens, we're in trouble as a country. And big, big trouble.
All right, gentlemen. A popular Fuji musician, Ayinla Kollington, once wondered in a song why Nigeria, which had learned to walk and run, will now be crawling in all aspects. Inability of the country to nip insecurity in the bud is taking a toll on all aspects of national life. At a meeting with service chiefs in Abuja over the festering insecurity, the president of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, said the situation has reached a fever pitch with nowhere to hide for everyone. Senator Lawan lamented that the security situation has made it impossible for the country to attract enough foreign direct investments. Bikil, where are we?
It is true that foreign direct investment has been going down in our country, and so many factors are involved. When we say the economy of our country has been mismanaged, we are saying the truth. It's not, it doesn't mean we don't love our country. The people think we don't love our country when we talk about things that are wrong. They are the ones who do not love their country. This is our job. Our job is to praise people in government when they are doing well, and to draw their attention to what they need to do that they are not doing. Now, we have a situation in which more than $540 million by foreign companies in our country are trapped. They can't repatriate their hard-earned money. Look at Emirates the other day, saying that it's going to reduce the number of its flights into Nigeria because it's been asking for a little over $80 million that it made in Nigeria, asking us to let it repatriate, make that money available for us so that we can repatriate. Because of forex illiquidity that we are facing, we cannot give them their money. And other foreign companies are affected like that. Does this encourage foreign direct investment? The answer is
Certainly not.
There are some companies that are divesting, even in the oil sector, they are divesting and leaving Nigeria. Does this send the right message to people? If we have policies that are antithetical to promotion of business in our country, if we have policies that discourage business people, especially those of them coming from abroad, to come and set up base in our country, do we think that people will feel comfortable to come and do business here? If every part of Nigeria is now dominated by bandits, we did not do enough to stop the reign of bandits in our country. They are now spreading their tentacles. Look at what happened in Kogi. Kogi, that we were praising the governor because of his efforts in securing the area. You can see in the last few days the kind of attacks going on in Kogi. They went to a ceramic company, and while they were taking some Indians, the expatriate workers, they were taking them home after closing that day. They attacked the coastal bus that was taking those expatriates home. And they kidnapped the expatriates. One was even killed. Now, does this send the right message to other people who want to come and do business in our country? When we are saying deal with insecurity, if we don't deal with insecurity, it's going to cause even more problems for us. People thought we were merely making noise. Look at what is going on now. People who read the report of the attack and the killing of an expatriate, will they feel comfortable to come to Nigeria? So that is why the Senate is complaining. There are so many gains that we can derive from having foreign direct investment. Maybe later in the course of the program we'll talk about why we really need them. And for a country that doesn't have enough of them, honestly, real growth may not happen.
All right, Bola. Apart from security, which we know is a very huge factor, other persons have mentioned widespread corruption, political instability, a lack of transparency.
What's of power? What's of power? Okay? You see, the issue is, they said Nigerians are complaining that small Ghana there is taking over the chain. Of course. Where won't Ghana? It's not that Ghana is a land that is full of honey and then many other things. No. They've been able to do some things that the international community and investors have been able to be proud of. And not only, proud of those processes that they've taken. At least they are finding comfort and their businesses are doing well there. And that's the more reason they will go to places like Ghana. Okay, let me just tell you, there was a day I was checking something. Do you know that, all the visas being processed in Nigeria by the Canadian neighbors that we thought are being done in Nigeria, a temporary visa is being done in Kenya, and Ghana is doing permanent visa. They are the people doing it here. Nothing is being done. They don't believe in Nigerian, processes. Maybe they thought, I don't know why that decision. But I'm telling you that, look, you can look at it from that perspective, that, look, the shine is being taken from the so-called giant of Africa. Okay, if we have light, we have electricity, not that, even the diesel that most companies are using to power their businesses, their manufacturing and services, they can't find the diesel. They can't find the diesel. They are so costly. They are out of this world. Not only that, the cost of doing business. Why? Then the so-called corruption, though, and to be frank, this government did well by signing, presidential, directive and others in respect of to make, cost of doing business to be a little bit low and make things so worthwhile for investors. But we are not seeing the manifestation in terms of, having more people, having more investors in the country. Investors are not coming. Then if investors are not coming and we are importing everything, that means the so-called foreign currency that we need, will be taking them outside to spend. Instead of, the company coming here to establish, and then Nigerians having, more jobs to do.
All right, before we go on with this discussion, let's quickly have Ruben from Sapele. Hello, Ruben.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to your guest. My contribution is this. I want maybe budget to throw some light on this issue. We are facing insecurity. This problem is all over the nation right now. As I speak to you, even in Delta, Sapele, as small as the town is, we are battling with kidnapping. Not to talk of the north. But my question is this. I don't know if the military, because I know about the military, used to have intelligence officers So I don't know if they can employ strategies like spy, army officers, just like the police have their spies. But I don't really see the function of the spy police because I don't think they're really incorporated into the police force to work with them. I don't think it's happening. So we need a lot of spy who can be giving the military first-hand information at the snap of their finger. They are already there. People will be in strategic positions and be giving the military information as spy officers to the military. I think they should look at that line.
All right. Thank you, Ruben. Okay, would you like to respond?
Well, I think the military is already embarking on some projects, something like CSI, corporate social responsibility, rebuilding schools and communities, organizing health outreach in communities. These are ways by which the military, and when I say the military, I mean the Air Force, Navy, all the arms of the armed forces, these are ways by which they are trying to earn the confidence of the people so that the people can also assist them unmask evil people. Because if the people don't trust you, they will not give you information. We've seen situations in which somebody provided information and the subject of that information that was provided eventually came back to attack the person who provided to the police after getting. So people are worried. The bandits themselves are recruiting people who are providing information. So our people too have a lot to do. The armed forces have a lot to do. If we don't do it, honestly, if we don't have information, we do not improve our intelligence gathering mechanism, we will find it difficult, if not impossible, to defeat these bandits.
All right, thank you, Mikhail. Now, let's get back to our discussion. Before we talk about the holistic reforms to improve our FDI, what role do you think intense bureaucracy and high tax burden play in all of this?
Well, it's part of what we need to do. We need to, the specter of double taxation, for example, we need to address it. I think that the mechanism of tax collection has to change. There are still many Nigerians who ought to pay tax that are not paying. They are not captured in the tax net. There are many foreign companies that are cutting corners. They are not paying exactly what they should pay. So I think in the area of tax, we still have room for improvement. I think that bureaucracy, needless bureaucracy, has to be dealt with. Is pulling us back. And people, foreigners who want to work, come to a country and set up business where bureaucracy will ensure, for example, that even the piece of land where you need to set up a business, you are waiting for ages before you can get a C of O. At the respective states, in the respective states, we must ensure that we improve in the area of ease of business because it's key to the foreign investor. If you cannot guarantee that you can do business with ease here, if you cannot guarantee that you can get through bureaucracy in record time and achieve his aim, he will not feel like coming here. It's just as bad as insecurity itself. So states that ensure that they deal decisively with the problem of doing business, ease of doing business, improving the area of ease of doing business, they are going to be able to attract more foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment ensures that even competition on the local scene improves. You can see the coming of MTN. Let's use MTN, for example. The coming of MTN has stimulated competition. We now have our own homegrown telco, which is Globacom. You know, others are doing their own in their little ways. We saw Airtel also came in, you know, at that time. seen it is a lot. So when foreign direct investment comes in, it stimulates competition, not just even from companies based abroad, but even companies here. And then the possibility of training of your own staff, training and retraining of the citizens of that country is also there. And of course, in my view, the most important, that's the corporate tax. Corporate tax. You now have opportunity to make more money by way of corporate tax with foreign direct investment. The last time the GDP of our country was rebased, it was said that the ICT accounted for 12% of Nigeria's GDP. MTN is known to constitute half of the market share. MTN accounts for half of the market share of the ICT business in our country. It means that a single company, a single foreign company, accounts for 6% of Nigeria's GDP. And it is not a foreign, it is not an oil company. Now, talking about taxation, MTN over the years has been able to pay more than 3 trillion naira to Nigeria by way of taxation. So there's a lot that we can gain if we were to bring in other foreign investors like MTN and the rest of them. You know, bringing them in will enable us to earn more money from taxation especially, and then employment for our people, as well as even training for our people in the area of skills that they are lacking. So it's a painful thing that in the area of foreign direct investment, we are not doing well now. We have to get better. The things that are discouraging foreign investors from coming into our country, we have to address those problems. I can understand why the Senate is talking about this, and it's a big problem, but we have to address it so that we can encourage more foreign direct investors to come in.
All right, Bola.
Well, he has been able to really attack the issues. But I think that even before attracting, let us make sure those ones that are packing their loads now and leaving, let us deal with issues that they are complaining about. How can you make profit in Nigeria and you won't be able to repatriate the profit? That is another problem. Then the issue of power, we should be able to do something about it. Electricity. Then, look, if we are not doing that and you are telling them that, oh, generate your power, transmit your power the way you want, okay, fine. Then you should be able to give them, the ground. There should be a sufficient landing point for them to do that. At least diesel should be able, we should be able to make diesel available to these industries. If we cannot generate power for them.
All right, Jezebel, let's quickly take Ernest from Enugu. Hello, Ernest.
Hello, my sister. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I agree to now.
Thank you, Ogami.
All right. Yeah, I'm following your program this afternoon today. Please, it's better for us to tell ourselves the truth. Can you tell me a person, any country, any company in their right sense will come and invest in this our Nigeria as it is now, right now? You talk of electricity, there is no power. Are you getting me? You talk of insecurity, there is no security anywhere. Despite all the things that government, people, ministers, they will come and be lying. I've never seen where a government lied the way this government is lying to the citizens. How can you be leading people with lies? At least you say some truth and use diplomacy to complete other ones. But this one, everything is lie everywhere, left, right, from citizens. That they employ people to come, purposely to come and lie to the citizens.
All right. Thank you very much, Ernest.
That way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, your last take on this. And before I take your last take, last month, BKO, the International Air Transport Association stated that Nigeria is withholding an estimated $450 million in revenue belonging to foreign airlines and due to forex shortages. And experts are saying this is a major issue which has discouraged foreign players from bringing their monies into the country. Is there anything the government can do just about this?
Of course, we are not earning enough from exports. Our main export earner is crude oil. But even the subsidy, the over-bloated subsidy that we pay, takes a huge chunk of the foreign exchange, the dollars that we earn from exports. So it's creating serious problem of dollar scarcity, if I can use that word to simplify it. People who have companies, they want to bring in raw materials, they can't access the dollar. So the CBN has to come in at this stage because, after all, it is the CBN that is the banker of our country. They've got to move in and pay these foreign companies their money. Otherwise, things will get worse. I spoke earlier about what Emirates said. The time will come when they will stop flying into our country. Already, many of them feel comfortable even going to Ghana. We've seen companies leave our country, Dunlop and the rest of them, going to Ghana. The other day, I heard that even Nestle was considering leaving Nigeria.
To go to Ghana.
You know? Yeah,
it's
because it's difficult. Public electricity supply is important. But a lot of these people, I know that for a long time, flour mills didn't even use public electricity. They were using diesel. But now, what do you think will be going through their minds? With diesel selling for like $8.50 per liter.
Even newspaper industry, for you to start printing, you can't print on PHCN electricity. No, it's not possible for you. You need to put on your generator. If not because of that, the waste that you will generate in printing will be too much for you to circulate. Now, as we are saying, we are not condemning government. Ours is to speak, to tell the government the truth. Nigerians are telling the government the truth, and they can hear people phoning him to tell us, okay? We are masking what we need to say here, but we will say it the right way. Something needs to be done. At least make sure that, the companies that we have here, they are not going, they are not packing, they are not selling their stake. Make sure that the money, the profit that they made, they are able to repatriate the money. Right. And then that is the only way. And aside that, we should improve on security. Because, look, the embassies are sending reports, to all these investors. They are asking questions. Nobody will pack load and money and everything and come and set up here. They will need to relate with their embassies. If the embassies are saying that, that country is not safe for you, you better be very careful. They will stay over there or go to country. Right. And we have the population.
All right, gentlemen, we still have more to talk about, but let's take a break. I'll be right back.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
TVC News,
First, with breaking news.
We cover the big political stories in Nigeria, but people want more than just politics.
Business news, sports, naturally, but you need news to live by also.
Stories about education, health, personal finance, and hey, even lifestyle news.
Newspaper reviews, travel news, and much more.
Nigeria. It's more than just politics. It's life.
Start your day with us every weekday.
TVC News Breakfast. First, fast, balanced, and accurate.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
All right, welcome back. That Nigeria's economy is in shambles is no longer up for debate. But an empty treasury and a continuous decline indicates that there is no way out of the doldrums yet. Some government officials and business leaders have raised concerns that Nigeria's external reserves now stands at only $15 billion, which is well below the $36 billion balance on the gross external reserves claimed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. According to them, reserves of $15 billion will barely cover 4 months of imports. So the country is spending 5.9 trillion naira on imports in the first quarter of the year. The danger is that if the external reserves continue to be depleted within 4 months, Nigeria will no longer be able to pay for imports of food, medicine, materials, and spare parts required by industries. So analysts say all hands must be on deck to avoid total collapse of the economy over the continued depletion of the foreign reserves. PQ, what may be responsible for this? Especially the discrepancy.
You don't expect people in government to tell you the truth all the time. They will tell you the truth when it is convenient
for them.
But if the truth will constitute an embarrassment to government, then you can expect that you will not be told the truth. Nobody sets out to deliberately undermine himself or have himself discredited. We've been told that we were not printing money, it was denied, but there are many people who are privileged to know, who have said, no, it is happening. Some of these things may look difficult to believe, but it reflects the difficult times that we find ourselves in. I just hope that the economy can be reflated. Let's focus on growing the economy. Let the people in government focus on growing the economy so that we can earn enough. The size of our foreign reserves, the size of our sovereign wealth fund, the size of even the excess crude account will send a clear message of good health, economic well-being and good health of our nation to people. So if people are reading these sort of things, then what it says is that these are perilous times.
Well, perilous times indeed.
Well, it's a serious situation. Because like a few months ago, when how do I say it? Revenue generating agencies met with state government for allocation of money. And then at the end of the day, they said nothing. It's on ground to share. Nothing on the floor to share. And then, you see, we should know that this is the time to look outside the box. The time of going to Abuja, thinking that you will bring money to the state is no longer there. With the situation at hand now, NNPC is now, they privatized the NNPC. Then we are looking at the upstream. They say, well, another upstream, firm will come on board, and maybe from there, that one will start generating money. When are we going to wait till that time? And the cost, see, the issue is even this, the cost of governance. The government, state government, local government, they should start cutting the cost of governance now. Because with the situation we have, there's no money to share, and then people are, continuing, at least the little one available, they are still spending it, and they are not spending it the right way they ought to do it. Then what do we do? And the issue of foreign reserve is a critical thing. It shows the health of your economy. Many countries, they are having like $500 billion dollars. Others, are having like, even before the war that Russia forced on itself with Ukraine, Russia has about $600 billion in foreign banks as foreign reserve. A country like Saudi Arabia, as bad as the situation is, they're having almost $1 trillion in foreign reserve. But then we are here, we are talking of 36, and there's even depletion of the 36 billion to the level of 15 billion. And people are not saying the truth. Right. And then even a central bank, a former deputy central bank governor, even said it that they are printing money for the federal government. Are we in a country, Uganda, of the day of, what's the name of this one, Idi Amin?
All right, gentlemen. Let's quickly take our guest who will be sharing some insight with us on the program today. Joining us via Zoom from Jos is a private sector manager and chairman of Plateau State Economic Advisory Council, Ezekiel Gomez. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much for having me on the program today.
All right. And now let's start with the figures regarding the reserves, $15 billion or $36 billion. Is there anything to share or worry about in this situation?
There's so much to worry about this situation, because the figure that is talking about 15 billion is more of the actual, while the 36 billion is more like an accrual. Meaning that the central bank normally ignores some of its contingent liabilities when calculating a reserve. But when things are down, you must recognize all your liabilities. So you must deduct them from your accrual. That's why realistically, we think that it's between 15 and 20 billion rather than the $36 billion reserve. It's a worrying situation, because even 36 for a country like Nigeria that gulps so much imports, 36 is not healthy, but that's a bit deceptive. Reality is that we are between 15 and 22 billion. And that's very worrying for a country that takes in so much imports. So it's something that we need to worry about. And I think that the body language of all officials at the top should indicate a worrying thing. The body language shouldn't give the impression it's business as usual. The only time I heard the Minister for Finance making an allusion to the fact that we're having a problem was just a press conference last week where she mentioned the issue of debt payment being higher than revenue. But I didn't hear any worry about foreign reserves. So I think it's something we should worry about from all government officials.
How could our foreign reserves have gone down to this level? What really is the problem?
Well, there are a number of reasons that caused this. First is the decline in crude oil sales. From January to June this year, we've been selling only about $1.1 billion a day, barrels a day, compared to about 1.8 last year. Why is it so? I mean, there's so many reasons for that. First, the vandalization of pipelines, the theft, a huge amount of theft going on, which has peaked in the first quarter of this year, the theft of crude oil. This is unprecedented level of theft. That's one reason. So we're not getting any sales, any revenue from foreign crude oil. The second reason is the diversion of crude sales income for subsidy payment. You alluded to it in your earlier discussion, and I like the angle you guys took. We've been paying so much money to subsidize petroleum products, especially PMS. And between January and June, there's nothing in terms of reserves, paid to the reserves. So all the money earned from crude sales, from the 1.2 billion barrels a day crude sales, million barrels a day crude sales, is only going to for subsidy payment. And third, of course, is debt service payment itself is huge. And the fourth reason is the exit of foreign portfolio investment. We've not noticed this. People have not harped on this, but a lot of foreign portfolio investors have left Nigeria. They've exited Nigeria in the sense that they realized that the exchange rate was so negative against. If you invest 1 million naira in naira terms in the stock exchange, if you compare that to dollar, that's less than probably $2,000. So even if they get dividends paid to them in naira, it's so small that many of them just exited. Another reason, of course, is the rising demand for FX by Nigerians. Many companies have survived, are recovering from the post-COVID effects, and they're demanding for foreign exchange. Many Nigerians are traveling. We have a penchant for traveling to Dubai, all those countries with all this foreign exchange, the same foreign exchange source. Many children are going back to school, students, so fees are being paid, and there are the invisible imports. People go to Alibaba, buy all manner of goods, Amazon, buy all manner of goods. All these purchases go back to the same pot. So this reason, and of course, finally, the Emefiele strategy of defending the naira at all costs. This is also taking away a lot of the foreign reserve. When you are defending your foreign currency at all costs, you know that the cost of that is going to be huge. So all those reasons have caused massive drop in our foreign exchange. To the extent that if you take the $15 billion figure, it can cover exports for 3-4 months. If you want to make yourself comfortable and say, okay, we have 30, 33 or 36, it's still about 7 months export. For a country as big as 7 months import, for a country that depends so much of imports like Nigeria, that's a worrying sign.
All right, Mr. Ezekiel, some experts and government officials have not stopped saying that the reported balance on the gross external reserves has long concealed problems. Why this, and what may the government be hiding?
I don't know. Normally, governments want to do what's called making the citizens feel comfortable. You don't want to scare your countrymen and say, look, things are really bad. Governments don't normally do that. I think, like one of the panelists said out there, we have to tell each other the truth. If we are broke, we're broke. And so we don't have to, it's just like a parent or a father would normally not tell his family members that we're broke. We'd want to find reasons to sugarcoat the message. But this is not the same. This is a country, for goodness sake. And this is a country with so many needs, so many people, and with so many agendas to do. So there's no sense of urgency that the government has shown. I think there's need for urgency. We need to declare this as a serious problem so that we don't hide it from the citizenry.
Well, sir, I just have a question for you. For so long, federal government and state governments have been embarking on roadshow, on trade promotion and things like that. But we are not seeing the manifestation of the so-called roadshow and trade promotions in foreign lands. What do you think the government should do now?
I think the government should focus more in improving the enabling environment. The roadshows can convince someone to think of Nigeria, but the actual on-ground situation gives a different picture. We need to work on our enabling environment. I like the discussion going on. You mentioned it earlier, that one, the major reason for foreign investor going anywhere is to make money. And when that investor makes money, he wants to take the money back for either expansion or for other reasons. But when he can't take the money back or out, repatriation of dividends and even sales revenue is a major issue. That's a key problem to our enabling environment. Secondly, of course, we can't talk about insecurity again and again. It's been talked about, so we can't mention. But for me, one of the biggest problems is still officialdom. We still have not tackled officialdom in Nigeria, whereby processes, procedures for even getting ordinary permits in government offices are still in the 19th century, in the sense that people don't get permits easily. You don't have to go through several toll gates and obstacles to get permits, to get licenses, to establish businesses in Nigeria. And then there's also several other issues of corruption at various levels. I know the Presidential Enabling Council has been working hard to tackle some of these things, but the country is big, for goodness sake. It can't work, a council sitting in Abuja cannot handle this problem. And that's why they've started to involve the states, so that the states, especially the states and local governments, doing business in Nigeria, you go through several layers of officialdom. And if these are not dismantled, it will continue to discourage any investor coming in. That officialdom is, we created it ourselves. It's not as if it's a problem. It's a citizenry that sometimes creates some of the officialdom. Government officials at all levels, especially at local and state levels, need to think outside the box, need to see things along like business people. Because the more we think of ourselves as bureaucrats, putting obstacles for businesses and thinking that they have money, so let's sap them of the money. Why can't they pay this? Why can't they pay this? All those things discourage foreign investors. And there are messages. They send back these messages to colleagues. They put it in their trade journals. They mention it in chambers of meetings, in chambers of commerce meetings. And all these messages spread around. So even if you go on a road show to New York and people sign up, when they come here, they find different experience. I think only few states have taken seriously the issue of dismantling officialdom so as to make it easier for businesses to grow and expand in Nigeria.
Oh, okay, please go ahead.
But do you see the depletion stopping so soon? The depletion of foreign reserve. Do you see it stopping so soon? In view of the fact that, agencies or corporations like NNPC and others are not bringing forth money?
In the short run, I don't see it stopping, unfortunately, because two things. One, the National Assembly has made it clear that they don't want the executive to tamper with oil subsidy, with fuel subsidy. So that's a huge problem already. By the end of 2022 December, we would have spent $4 trillion on oil subsidy alone. 4 trillion, which is actually what the whole revenue the federal government is going to earn in a year. So it's actually virtually the same as what the NNP is going to earn the whole year. So if you continue this oil subsidy crap, I believe that can't see any reduction in the attrition of the foreign reserve. It will continue. Another reason is the hunger for imports by Nigerians has not stopped. In spite of all this, in spite of dollar going to 700 or 600, if you go to the Bureau de Change, people are still demanding for dollars. People are still buying dollars, some to hoard, some to do genuine businesses, and some to do other things like intangibles. People are paying for subscriptions, school fees, medical expenses, mortgage payments, etc. So in the short run, I don't see it any solution. The only recommendation I would do is that let the federal government, in its body language, let the managers of our economy, in their body language, let all of us know that we have reached a point of serious emergency in this matter, so that it will trickle down. So if people were trying to look for $100 million for a particular thing, they might reduce that demand. Also, at this point, I think the country needs to revisit the issue of subsidy. I don't believe it's an untouchable area. I don't think the subsidy is an untouchable area because it's going to consume us all. $4 trillion is more than the actual revenue federal government is going to earn. And who benefits from the subsidy? It's our neighboring countries. For goodness sake, petrol sells an average of 500 naira per liter in our neighboring countries. We're forcing it down here at about 165 to 200. They buy it at even 200 and take it to the borders and sell it at 300, 400. So they make money in the middlemen. Secondly, how many Nigerians are actually buying fuel at 165? A lot of people have adjusted to 200, 230. I can't remember the last time I saw fuel 165 in any filling station around Jos. So people are gradually adjusting. I know people don't trust government when they say they remove the subsidy and use it for other development purposes. But it's just like an injection. Let's take the painful one once. In the long run, we're going to benefit. But for us to continue to delay the painful death, I think subsidy will consume this nation.
All right, Mr. Ezekiel, still talking about recommendations. Some top officials, including some governors, have talked about, cutting expenditure by 8 trillion naira in the short term. They also talked about restoring fiscal discipline and abandoning the fixed exchange rate policy. Would this do some magic?
In the short run, it will cause a serious problem for us, and Nigerians are not patient. When such problems come in, patience is one of our least virtues. So we're not going to take it easy when you just cut budget like that. I think there must be a planned process of cutting. What are the items that need to be cut? Some of the items that need to be cut are actually cost of governance. If the government officials are suggesting, why can't we start from the cost of governance? The cost of maintaining a huge bureaucracy at the national level, and at subnational level, particularly National Assembly, all those. So we reduce the cost of governance, then that's one area. But if you want the common man to suffer the cost, to pay the price for Nigeria's economic woes, I think it would be unfair for us to expect the common man to suffer. It's the cost of governance that we have to look at. One. Secondly, yes, it's okay to, I still believe that it's okay to look at other aspects of governance, not just the cost. Improving productivity is one. We've been giving lip service to some of the steps that will increase productivity. I think we have to take serious steps towards improving productivity in terms of exports. I like what the National Export Promotion Council is doing, but it's a long shot. They don't translate into short-term earnings of exports overnight. There must be deliberate efforts. There must be real efforts, not the normal effort. We're not in normal times. These are very abnormal times, so we require unusual steps. When COVID came, we took very unusual steps. We should go back to those kind of unusual steps that comes in an emergency, so that we don't end up having a broke country. A broke country of 200 million people is a dangerous situation.
All right, so let's look at NNPC's transformation into a public limited liability company, which many have said may be part of the problem or maybe compounds the problem by not being able to remit export earnings directly into the Federation coffers. What other sources of foreign exchange inflow should Nigeria focus on in this perilous time?
Like I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest untapped sources is agriculture. For me, that should be the gold mine. In terms of food, in terms of several types of, Nigeria can produce almost all types of food, temperate, exotic, etc. And there are many countries today that would be willing to have import from Nigeria because labor cost would be is rather cheaper, and also the varieties is awesome. Now, agriculture is one key area where we can tap into, and that has to be with a sense of urgency, not with a normal sense of activity. I mean, the entire Middle East, most of the countries now are depending on imported food. And some of them are willing to invest in countries outside the Middle East to be able to get fresh food. Middle East, Kuwait, Qatar, and all these countries import fruits, vegetables, etc. from far off countries. Why can't Nigeria step in the gap? It's only 6 hours flight or 7 hours flight at most from some of these places. But they go to 11-hour flight countries to import. So agriculture is one. Secondly, mining. Mining has been given lip service. A significant amount of minerals leave Nigeria in raw form, and that way we don't get the value for it. Secondly, they live in Nigeria in smuggled form. People travel in with briefcases full of gemstones out of Nigeria, and they go to Thailand, to all these countries and convert them into wonderful things. And this is not just the Chinese. Nigerians are involved in this. I think we pay the lip service to that because the amount of mining, the amount of minerals that leave Nigeria, even ordinary Plateau State, it's about, at last count, we heard there was about $2 billion worth of minerals that left Plateau State in raw form, through smuggled mud, where the federal government got nothing. So whose fault? It's us, all of us. From security agencies, from the regulatory agencies, to communities where the minerals have been mined. What's their stake in all this? If they are educated enough to ensure that people don't just come and mine and leave and destroy their land and leave, after paying the traditional rulers a few patents. And as long as mining remains an exclusive list, the local people have nothing to do with it. And the state governments have looked the other way. They might make all the noise about establishing mining companies. By the end of the day, they don't have any power on it. So we still have a lot of outside foreigners flooding states in Nigeria, accompanied by all manner of consequences, including insecurity, and taking out all manner of foreign exchange out of the country in smuggled form. So this is the key problems we're facing. And I remember in this state, the government went as far as to using security to arrest some of the miners. But of course, they don't have the power at the state to do anything beyond handing them over to the federal agencies. So again, we have to come together, both subnational and the federal government, to work together and declare it as with urgency of now, not to say, okay, let's normal things flow, because normal things will flow, and then by December we're broke.
Okay.
Sir.
Let's go back to Forex, the Forex illiquidity, which is a big problem that we face. There are people who have argued that having the dual exchange window is not good enough, and that if we narrow the gap between the official and non-official markets, that the level of speculation that damages the value of the naira will go down. Where do you stand?
Yes, I stand in narrowing the gap between the official and the so-called black market or the so-called free market, because it's not doing anyone any good. In the short run, there will be a lot of pain because there will be a lot of inflation accompanying that. All goods will just go up in terms of price, but in the long run, it will even out, and the pain will be less. You see, a situation where, especially during the days when central bank was giving out dollars to bureau de change, a lot of the bureau de change were promoted by even officials of central bank. You might not know this. A lot of officials of central bank own 1 or 2 or 3 bureau de change. Yes. And if you're giving $20 per week in those days, and at official price, and you call someone to sell it at the black market rate, the kind of round tripping they were making in terms of profits. So the central bank came out to abolish selling to bureau de change, but they still issue dollars to several other consumers at 420, including travelers, including other importers, including importers of invisible goods. Now, that gap, that huge volume that goes to those, especially importing invisible goods, the goods are brought and sold at the price of black market. So there's no reason to maintain the official rate. If somebody gets dollar at 420 today and imports, say, products to manufacture, when he comes in to manufacture the products, he's setting his price at the price of black market rate of dollars, not at 420, mark you. So in the real sense of the word, he is not bringing, there's no advantage to giving out, because Nigerian economy is still buying the equivalent of the exchange rate at black market. So why can't you just narrow the gap and stop making some people stupendly rich by arbitrating the exchange? So in actual sense of the word, I support those who say we should bridge the gap. However, what strategy should we use to bridge the gap? It can't be a one fell swoop, wake up in the morning and announce, no, the gap is no longer there. I mean, it will cause a lot of trauma in society. You can do that by gradually lifting out some sectors, banning some sectors from going to central bank, leaving it only for maybe security issues, or other, in some countries, only security and maybe critical issues are given any foreign exchange at official rate. That if there is anything like official rate. But in most other countries, they've abolished this dual exchange rate because they've realized, and it's clear to us, in a country of 200 million people, there's bound to be a few bad eggs. And these few bad eggs may have so much influence, and they can access the dollars at the official, everything they're doing at the black market rate. So who gains? They gain and we lose. So that's my argument for saying that why maintain the official exchange rate when the real sense of the word, people are not benefiting. The actual people are not benefiting.
Okay, sir, you said Nigerians and foreigners are taking away our precious stones, you know, like golds and others, and even dollars or foreign currency out of the country. Are we saying that agencies like the EFCC, the customs, are not doing their job?
They're doing their job to the extent of what they know and what they see. You see, they're not magicians. They can't just sit in their office and know everything happening in Nigeria or everything happening in every part. They're trying to they get the act on. And lots of these things I've seen or I've read in news villages and pay a few and enter the area and start mining. And they are, I mean, some of the miners are even accompanied by policemen who are paid their normal allowance supposed to provide security and not to know what's going on. That's not their job. And this of those mining from deep under enter their flight. Now you may not even know what's in their briefcase, and it takes information. Somebody says, "Oh, okay, we've seen this guy carrying precious stones in his bag. Please check him at the airport." Of course, they will stop him. But as long as that information to even detect mineral, I don't think we have. We have to detect gold. But as long as the customs and EFCC are not aware of what's going on, they won't know what to do. They're not magicians. Let us, as Nigerians, begin to help them or help our country to understand that the more these people take out these things, the less we gain in the long run. The individual might gain a few $1,000s, of course, but the society loses in the long run. I mean, with the insecurity part of the insecurity in Zamfara was on the gold issue, the gold mine issue. People were bringing so many people to mine tin at night, gold at night. And what did they do with the gold? Did you see a single one being refined in Nigeria? No. Did you hear that Nigeria exported so much gold in so years? No. But this gold left Nigeria in various forms. So unless we help the EFCC, help the security agencies, we ourselves are part of our problems. Unless we come to them to realize that we're destroying our society, we are part of the problem. Because these EFCC people are human beings too. They're not magicians. They're not God. They can't just sit where they are and see everything happening in every corner.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ezekiel Gomez, Private Sector Manager and Chairman of Plateau State Economic Advisory Council. Thank you very much for sharing your perspectives with us on the show over the continued depletion of foreign reserves. Thank you very much for your time with us on the show today. We should let you go now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed listening to you
guys.
Thank
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen. He also talked about cost of cutting governance, but is the government ready to do this? Because this is not the first time we're hearing this. A lot of people have continued to say it. Cut the cost of governance.
It's something that we have to do. The president of Senegal decided to scrap the Senate.
And what happened? Nothing happened.
The company didn't collapse as a result of that. Our political leaders was ready to take big decisions, because he said something that I held on to, that if a country of 200 million people goes bankrupt, the consequences will be grave. I don't think that if Nigeria goes bankrupt, anybody will be able to handle the situation. We are far too many as a people for us to allow this to happen. And that's why we don't want war in our country, because if war breaks out, our neighbors will not be able to cope with the problem of will not be able to handle the huge number of refugees from Nigeria. It's going to be really tough. Well, let's hope that our economic managers will do a better job going forward. Because for now, things look really, really grim and bleak.
Voila. Okay.
Indeed. Very, very, very grim. And I think our economic managers, government policy makers, they are listening. This is a perilous time, and it must not go too bad than we are in now. People are hungry, people are hungry. And if the federal government and the state government refuse to take the necessary actions, I think it will be too bad for them, because we voted them in to take those actions and the necessary action to make sure that things did not go so wrong the way we are witnessing and the way we are feeling now. That is my perspective.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Mr. Bola, I need to thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. We're taking sport very soon. All right, there's excitement in the air for soccer enthusiasts as the English Premier League, regarded as the most exciting and dramatic in the world, returned at the weekend. Arsenal, for the second season running, opened the fixtures in a Friday night football trip to Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. Unlike the opening fixture of last season, when the Gunners lost 2-0 to Brentford, they defeated the Eagles 2-0 to open this account on a positive note. Last season's runners-up, Liverpool travelled to newly promoted Fulham, who forced the Reds to a 2-2 draw. Another London side, Tottenham Hotspur, recorded the eye-catching results of the opening week with a 4-1 thrashing of Southampton, where Chelsea recorded a 1-0 away victory over Everton, managed by their legend Frank Lampard. The defending champions, Manchester City, will begin their title defence at West Ham this Sunday, while Manchester United will begin their revival when they host Brighton. Some more intriguing matches and drama await soccer fans in this new season.
May well go down as an own goal for the Palace captain.
Tete manages to squeeze a good cross in, and they're in here, and they've scored. It's Mitrovic.
It's been coming. They've been brilliant, Fulham, and he's worked his socks off, Mitrovic, in his first half, doing a lot of defensive work, a lot of horrible...
It's a nice layoff to find him from Harvey Elliott. Played into the middle, and this time he does get it in. And he's off and running in the Premier League. Fulham 1, Liverpool 1.
The same matchup, same bit of play. Or not, he clearly sticks his leg out, but does he drag it away in time?
It's Mitrovic, and it's 2-1 to Fulham. The opening day at Craven Cottage, and Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah. Liverpool level again, and a man who scores so many goals on the opening day of the season scores for the 6th successive year.
All right, gentlemen, that's it there. As an Arsenal fan, it's a good start for us. But the only issue is we hope this continues this way.
Well, I'm sure you know your club more than some of us. You flatter to deceive.
Okay.
If Arsenal wins its opening match 4-0, no one will be bothered, because this is a club that last won the Premier League during the transfer window, and they completed business quickly. Maybe the fact that Arteta used to work for Man City helped him to secure the transfer of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. Maybe, but they are good signings as far as I'm concerned, and Gabriel Jesus has begun to score goals. Arsenal had an excellent preseason, winning all his games. I just hope that they will be able to sustain the momentum and show that they can really rub shoulders with the big guns.
All right, joining us to talk sports is Mian Akiri, our sports news anchor. So Mian, the new EPL season is here.
That's it.
7 clubs from London. What does it hold for soccer fans across the globe?
You know, this is massive, especially when you want to take a look at how competitive it's been in London. And if you talk about how competitive it's been in London, you know, just yesterday we saw what it was like at Craven Cottage once again, home ground of Fulham. Liverpool, you know, failed to deliver towards the tail end, you know, of the final season, last season to be precise. And they started on a shaky note, so to say again, against Fulham. It ended 2-2, and that's a London club. Interestingly, this season we're also seeing the fact that all teams who have won the UEFA Champions League or the European Cup at this point in time, from Aston Villa to Nottingham Forest, you know, all competing in the Premier League, you know, which shows that the tradition is in there this season, and that is extremely huge. As we speak, matches are ongoing, and not the best of results for Manchester United. You know, Erik ten Hag, you know, starting on a shaky note. The first 45 minutes precisely didn't go down well, and there are 2 goals down. Question marks at this point in time also, if you consider the fact that United fans are also protesting. You know, they protested before this game. So it speaks volume about the crisis behind the scene at Manchester United And the question is, what needs to be changed? You know, what exactly must change for United to get it right? That's the million-dollar question that Eric must indeed answer as the season progresses. But you must also consider the fact that he's just coming in, one. Secondly, we've seen teams, it has happened to Manchester City, losing on the opening day of the season, still going on, you know, to win the EPL title. Arsenal, you know, had a very disastrous start last season and then still finished, you know, picking a ticket to Europe. So, like they say in football, it is not he who starts a game that matters. It is he who ends it, provided you end it well.
All right, Chelsea, with the new owner, defeated Everton 1-0. Would this new ownership have any impact on the team as we progress in the season?
Well, for Chelsea, to a large extent, I don't think I'm impressed, so to say, with the level of transfer activity they've been able to do, especially if you consider how they went about their transfer activity, losing at least 2 key players, you know, to Barcelona. Rafinha is one of them. It was almost done and dusted, and everyone thought Rafinha was going to West London, hoping to sign for Chelsea Football Club. You know, Barca came in. We also had the defender from Sevilla Football Club, Koundé. Everyone thought he was going to London, and Barca came in. But by and large, you know, Deco, former Chelsea and Barca midfielder, was of the opinion that it's always been the dream of Rafinha to play for Barcelona. But one thing Chelsea also must understand with their new owner is the fact that, yes, it is illegal in football to talk directly to players when you are interested in them. It is always best and official that you go through the club. But in football today, where football is big business, the illegality has become a norm, whereby you see agents and, you know, clubs who are interested in players always tapping on the player. They sound the player first. We're interested in you, so as to make everything faster. That's what we've seen in world football today, and I think Chelsea must also learn from that. If you're able to get assurances from the player and the agent, then it should be very difficult, you know, for a third party, you know, to always get the chance of signing players you've probably concluded official agreements with on the end of the club side.
Mikhail, do you agree with me?
Well, I think that a player, first and foremost, must be interested in joining your club before you can secure a signature. You will see that player power is a lot greater these days than before. Most teams will not want to force a player to be transferred to another club. Rafinha made it clear, despite the fact that Barcelona had an agreement with Chelsea, Rafinha made it clear that his dream had always been to play for Barcelona. And in the end, the wish of the player prevailed. If a player is determined to play for you and the club is ready to offer the money, that's an advantage, because at the end of the day, the wish of the player will prevail. But if clubs are not forthcoming, as we have seen with Ronaldo, the player may have his wish not come to pass. I think that these are early days, but I want to see what the trend looks like in the 3rd or 4th week. Because after the first week, you have the opportunity to look at the mistakes you've made. The new coaches, for example, would need time to study, to understand their players. Many people talk about Liverpool doing well, but Jurgen Klopp was given so much time. There were occasions when he finished even outside of the top 7. But the club was patient with him. They watched him instill his methods in the players. The high pressing game, the counter press, you know, the general aggressive nature that we see Liverpool players demonstrate when they are playing, that is playing the club way, and they have successes to show for it. I know that they will miss money, certainly, because the front line is irreplaceable. There are players that are simply irreplaceable. But hopefully, they will get by. That will teach them a lesson that when you have a valuable player, you need to pay him well. If they had paid money well, it would not have gone to look at some of the useless players in Manchester United. Some of them earning even double money's wages after tax. Why should that be the case? So you've got to pay players competitive wages. So that's why someone like Mane has left. He's irreplaceable. He won everything in England, and I'm sure that it will also be a success in at Bayern. So it's early days. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks.
All right, gentlemen. Now, a new twist this season, which I think is too early, is that a certain supercomputer in England predicted the result of the new season. Just like last season, Manchester City in first place, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Manchester United to follow in that order. Quite reminiscent of what played out last season. Would you agree with this? I think it's too early, though.
Well, I would also want to believe that it is too early. It is early days, but if you also take a look at what the transfer window has been like, we talked about Anfield recently. Yes, I watched Nunes, Darwin come off the substitutes bench, made the difference, so to say, in Liverpool's 2-2 draw against Fulham yesterday. But unfortunately, I just want to agree that Mane is irreplaceable. It suits the pressing style of Jurgen Klopp. And for Darwin Nunes, he is a different kettle of fish entirely. He's not a player who runs at the defender, makes a lot of run and all that, but he has his own advantage with the height and all that, and that made the difference yesterday. Manchester City up front, yes, you have Erling Haaland, and he has proved his worth in the Bundesliga, in the Austria Bundesliga, also with Salzburg, and coming to the Premier League. Some will want to say this is the big acid test, and these are some of the players you want to watch out for. But by and large, I feel where we would have the biggest competition would probably be the Golden Boot Award. You have the likes of Gabriel Jesus now. If you take a look at the statistics while he was at Manchester City, despite not being a super regular, scoring, over 90 goals and all that, it is quite impressive. Take a look at him, a Harry Kane at Tottenham Hotspur. You want to talk about Mohamed Salah at this point in time. Yes, Erling Haaland, yes, his first season in the Premier League, but at that young age, what he's been able to do at the apex, talking about the UEFA Champions League, you can't rule out, while Manchester City have decided to say, yes, we want to give him, the jersey number 9 and see what they would offer, the defending champion. So I feel where we should focus on at this point in time is the strikers and the Golden Boots Award. It will be a different season entirely for that top gun race.
All right, a minute away from football. Let me quickly have your analysis on Nigeria's exploits at the ongoing Commonwealth Games. Speak your.
I'm really impressed with our guests, especially. While we were here working, our guests did the magic again. We won the 4x100 meters relay for women, setting a new African record. They raised the African record. He raised the African record in Oregon. The record that had stayed there for 30 years. That was set in Brisbane at the Olympic Games in 1992 as the team of Beatrice Utondo, Mario Inyali, and the rest of them. But this new team, very young set of girls, excellent baton exchange. They've won the gold, pushing Jamaica to third place. Jamaica came third. I'm really impressed. The changes that the coaches made, getting the world champion, Amuson to be the lead leg. She actually started the relay, and she did very well as the lead runner, and then we maintained the momentum. We won the gold. Earlier, she had retained her title on the Commonwealth 100 meters hurdles gold earlier today. It's a thing of joy. Ade Kuroye set a record, the first Nigerian to win 3 consecutive gold medals at the Commonwealth Games. So she's done that. And, you know, we've won 12 gold medals, I think, huh? And all of those 12 gold medals have come from women.
It's a massive, you know, like they say, whatsoever a man can do, a woman can do better. And then you can't deny that credit, you know, for the Nigerian woman at this point in time. And to the Nigerian woman out there, take a bow. You know, it is impressive. This is awesome. Tobi Amuson coming from the World Championships at this stage. When it comes to the others, she's the African record holder, the Commonwealth Games record holder. She is also the world record holder. We shouldn't also forget the fact that earlier today, you know, she set the Commonwealth Games record, which is awesome. Now the 4x100 meters, you know, women, that's huge. From the likes of Amuson, Ophili Favor, you know, Mary and Co. You know, it was awesome. I saw Tobi Amuson, you know, take the first, you know, leg, and I was quite impressed, you know, with such a decision, you know, from the Nigerian coaches. And the baton exchange was also another thing. Been a while we saw this, you know, from our girls, and to think of the fact that, see, it's not, it's beyond talking. You must walk the walk while you talk the talk. Countries like Jamaica, they've been successful when it comes to the 100 meters, the 4x100 meters, and also the 200 meters. And having to beat them, you know, to third and second, you know, leaving that for them at this point in time shows how we have improved. And I must also say that for the first time in a long while, we don't have this issue of payment challenges from Team Nigeria's camp, where athletes will come out and say, oh, you are owing us, you've not paid us. I was listening to the program, you know, despite the fact that there is the issue with the dollars and all that, they are outside the shores of the country. The athletes, you know, have been getting their money for those who want gold, $5,000 and not, just to motivate them. And we are on the verge of having a record, you know, appearance for Nigeria. We're just competing in 9 sports. And then the number of medals we've won, it is impressive. Ese Brume is what we're waiting for as far as the long jump final is concerned, to see what the outcome will be like for Team Nigeria. But as we speak, it's been a successful Commonwealth Games for the most populous black nation on earth.
And we must really say thank you, because in all of the issues we're going through in Nigeria now, we have something to smile about. Yes. It's incredible.
Yes, our guests have really done us proud. It's not as if we've not won other medals, you know. Esther, the wrestler, had to be consoled.
Yes,
by
Esther does,
Ade Kuroye, you know, because she badly wanted to win the gold, but she won a bronze medal. I know that her chance will still come to honor her country with the gold medal. The men have to do better. We won the bronze in the 4x100. Yes. We used to win gold in these events, but we've got to take what we have and celebrate the athletes who have done us proud as a nation. Sometimes you could be close to tears when you see that in spite of the pains we are going through as a nation, it's still such a beautiful thing to be a Nigerian. And nothing demonstrates that much. Nothing makes you happier as a Nigerian than to see people represent your country, give their best, and bring honor to fatherland. So kudos to our guests, and we hope that in the future we even do even better.
All right.
You know, just to buttress what he has said, and if you take a look at the trend of the Nigerian woman, you know, in the calendar year 2022, adding the fact that Asisa Toshuola is also, you know, the best female player, you know, in Africa at the moment. Hey, you just have to give kudos, you know, to the African and the Nigerian woman.
All right. A very good way to end the show.
The women are coming. Or they are here.
We are here, actually. All right, so Manu is leading 2-1. I hear my producer say Manu is leading 2-1.
No, they are leading Manu
2-1. So
okay.
United has scored.
All right. A very good way to end the show. Thank you very much, May and Akira,
My
for coming
pleasure.
on the program. Thank you so much. And thank you, Bikio, for coming on the show. Thank you. It's been a very wonderful 2-hour time on the show. And thank you very much for watching out there. That's all on Journalist Hangouts on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor,